Okay, we're recording. All right, fellas, we have special guest T Zach who wanted to join us on this Sunday afternoon. We have Kodos, Howie, Slam, Matt from Merchantman, and am I missing anyone else? I think I got everyone. Grim will
I
be
think you did.
joining us, and Red Zone as well. And so what we decided to do was talk about week one. We're going to speak about all the teams playing each other, see who's going to be the winner, see who's going to be a loser, and which teams have bettered themselves in this draft and this free agency that just passed. T-Zac will give his special sauce on teams, what he thinks. And
We'll see.
I guess people who are on here might have questions for him. Now, he did a great show with Squirrel and Quick that I saw on YouTube. That was a good one about
That
the
was fun,
inside.
yeah.
It was, wasn't it? About the inside of how players are and the ratings and all that stuff. And I do agree with you, T. Zach, about it's the bars at certain points. For instance, wide receiver route running is very important. I know people with linebackers, they like the zone bar to be very important, so I do follow that philosophy.
Yeah, I mean at the beginning, that's why I didn't bother about the draft too much because I would get this it's 70 rated players that wouldn't perform, and then I went to free agency would get like a 40 rated guy with a perfect bar, and in the end, it works just as nice. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. So go ahead.
Because I know Howie opened my eyes to that, because Howie had a couple of guys, and I think it was in cornerback or something, and he would just get a certain bar that has been that helped his team a lot.
Sorry, Clay, can you say that? I heard my name, but it broke up a little bit.
No, I was saying that picking players with a certain bar that's top rated, I've gotten that from you because you had I think it was a DB or a cornerback that you played that had a great bar, but the rest of his bars was shit.
Oh yeah, it is. I will use. I'll pick up two cornerbacks that have a solid man-to-man bar, and that's all they need for that. And I'll play them in a straight cover two. Usually kind of in the 1-1-3 package and versus third down, and I'll pick up cornerbacks that only have bump and run to play in the one back sets, and once you get that cohesion rating up, they play great. I mean, I won two bowls with cornerbacks that weren't rated above 45. It was my highest rated corner. Same thing with safeties in the zone bar. I remember Mech one time tried to trade me a 65 rated safety, and he had a run defense of 99, but his zone defense was like a 20, and I wasn't interested. I ended up drafting a guy, and he gave me a boatload of shit for it, saying, "Oh, that guy's a bum compared to what I'm offering you." And I was like, "Well, he doesn't have a zone bar. A safety without a zone bar to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever." So, I strictly play kind of defensively looking at guys that fit what I want to do, and I don't know a lot of cover two, a lot of man-to-man coverage, and to have a cornerback that doesn't have a zone, it doesn't have a man-to-man bar doesn't make much sense to me.
How about you guys, the other GMs, Kodos and stuff? Do you fit that philosophy,
Uh,
or you have to have all the bars?
can you hear me?
Go ahead, I
Yeah.
can hear you,
Yeah,
Matt.
you can check my roster.
Sure.
It will be a perfect example of what how we just told about.
Okay, who do you want me to look at?
The secondary. Logan Wallace and Joe Delgado Both are man-to-man guys. So those are my cornerbacks. And then when you look at my safeties, you'll see they have nothing in the man-to-man and bumper run defense, and they're maybe the best zone defense guys in the league. And not this guy. This is a rookie. Clancy and a Pointy.
Now, T-Zach, are these guys that will work on your team?
No doubt, yeah. I mean, they're pretty good. And they will be cheap, right? You see, like $3 million cap space. So that's the kind of compromise. I mean, if I could get it, I mean, the point is this guy cannot defend the run, right? So that's you have to be smart, and I'm sure MIGV knows how to do this. So you have to be smart how to use this guy. So you have to make some compromises, but absolutely, yes. I mean, he can play special teams, good endurance, interceptions.
Yeah, these guys won't play on every formation because their endurance just isn't good enough to play them on every formation.
Yeah.
And it's funny how a lot of GMs shy away from this because they look at this and they got no bars except for one, and they're rated 38 or rated 41. My scouts are bad, so you guys probably see them better than this. But yet someone else picks them up that knows how to use them and puts them on their team and does wonders with them.
Well, yeah, it makes a difference in performance when you realize that overall rating is not doesn't translate all the time to performance, and sometimes you can get better performance with guys that have lower overall rating if they have like the correct bar. So it's a big difference. Right?
How about you? Go ahead, Matt.
The real sweetener for these guys is not the cornerback, but the other cornerback and the safeties. They were undrafted rookies or 7th round picks, so they're still cheap when they're in the 4th season, and even then, they're still going to be relatively cheap because their overall ratings aren't that high.
So when you guys were doing the show, T-Zach, and I was listening, I totally understand where you were going with how to pick the players to go with your system and stuff like that. And by having that show that you just did with Squirrel and Quick, you just changed now FOF where everyone's hearing this. And so when we're going out into free agency, it's going to be even harder to get players.
Yeah, but that's how it should be, right? Otherwise
I agree with
boring.
You.
Yeah.
Because now people now I think they have a new life on the game, understanding it more.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that was the goal of the show, right? That people can be refreshed at this wonderful game and do different things and still enjoy. My favorite secondary is Toronto's. If we can put it up, that's really good. Because then if you compare those kind of things with chemistry, I think that if you sort by chemistry, you're going to see that this guy is a great leader and so on. Others can say more. It's his team, not mine. But see all strong affinities, intelligence guy. So it's pretty good.
So
yeah,
right
the
here.
intelligence thing is kind of just because they're purple guys, they tend to be smarter. That wasn't really something I planned for, but it's a nice side effect of going with the purple group. And yeah, I probably overdo it with trying to get position leaders. Like if I see a rookie who's got good future leader abilities, I will grab him when nobody else is remotely interested in him, and then I'll keep them on my roster till they're old enough to be a leader or experienced enough. Although some of them are pretty painful to get into the leadership role with their complete lack of bars.
But they're doing well for you.
Yeah, I mean, from the affinity standpoint, yeah. Like, I think that is the only thing really keeping my team afloat besides Livingston and our offensive line. There's not a lot of talent in other areas of my roster at this point. And we've got receivers who have good route running bars. So that's something. But in general, my roster is kind of suffering because I've missed on multiple high, either first round or second round picks. And that wears on your roster after a while.
Well, you look at Devin Bass. He's an 80 PD. Daniels is an 81 PD. He was 80 last season. 81 the other one. So
yeah.
You're doing something right. And like what Tizak pointed out, these guys most likely would be passed up in free agency, but yet they're performing.
Yeah, they do. Okay, we do give up a ton of yards, but like they seem to stiffen up in the end zone or in the red zone. So we're usually not the top points allowed team, but we are often the top yards allowed. Plus, I think teams are often passing against us because Livingston will give us a lead. So I'll be forced into pass mode.
Here comes Grim. Speaking of passing, Jay-Z finally signed his quarterback.
That was easy.
It was about time.
Now, you, Tizak, chimed in saying he should not trade him.
Yeah, no way. I mean, look at this guy, right? He has all the bars you can possibly have, except medium pass. He has like a good avoid interception, pretty good. I mean, he can scramble. I mean, this guy here is very similar to Barge. Some of the older guys here will remember Derek Barge from Moontown.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Hey, Grim.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to talk to you, Zach.
Yeah, very nice to talk to you, man. I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, good.
Yeah, so this is Barge the second to me. I'm glad I'm not in that division anymore. So I don't want. Of course, you keep this guy. There's no way you're gonna get value for him, right? No way if you get 4 firsts or this type of stuff. Unless you get like 2 wide receivers, a running back, 2 tackles, and so on, then it's a different story. But otherwise, this is the perfect QB. I mean, you're never gonna get a guy like that again, right?
But there's talk about quarterbacks that are short that can't perform up to the bars. Do you take on that philosophy?
There's an effect, right? It's mentioned in the manual. I mean, there is an effect with the height, but I think it's a small effect, right? That's not the reason why he has like a low rating like of 60. It's a small effect. I mean, with these bars, I'll just keep the guy. I mean, it's like Russell Wilson, right? He can play, he can scramble, he can do everything for you, and he'll get some batted passes here and there, but it's like a few per game, right? Not more than 5 or 6, I think.
So basically, if he doesn't change his game plan, because as you can see how terrible his quarterback's performing, he's always going to be the same.
Well, no. But he didn't have wide receivers, so who is he going to throw the ball to?
Let's look at that.
I think that's always been my knock, is that he's got nobody to throw the ball to. You can have the best arm in the world, but if you don't have a guy to throw to, and I think he's in his second season now, so Yamashita, so he'll be all right. But Ronnie Trout, no.
Really.
Terry Clemenster, no.
Yes. Here's the receivers.
And with one guy there, I would double team Gene Yamashita all day long and say, if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me by throwing to one of these 2 guys. That's how you'll beat me.
I agree. But it's easy fix, right? You can just get 280 rated, in route running in free agency, and then you have a system that it doesn't need to be like a very high overall rating wide receiver. Just get a few guys in free agency that will change completely the way that the QB looks.
Grim, what we were doing, we're going to jump in on week 1 and talk about the teams playing each other and pick a winner, and also kind of talk about how they improved their team. However, what we did was we just started off with T-Zach's show that he did with Quick and Squirrel. That's how we got onto this topic right here, but we'll jump into that just to give you a heads up of where we are.
All right, right on. Thanks, man.
All right, guys. So let's jump into week 1. And the two teams playing each other. We have Arizona at Chicago. Records last year, Arizona was 6-10, Chicago was 8-7-1. Arizona put up 278 points, and Chicago put up 356. Where do you see these teams finishing off for this game? I'll put up Chicago's team. Tell me what you guys want to look at. You want to look at their quarterback. Here's Chicago's quarterbacks. It's going to be his second season in Chicago, so he'll build up his cohesion.
Yeah, I liked Witten when he was with Rochester, and I think he's one of the better QBs in the league. So I would certainly favor Chicago in that matchup.
Yeah, I'm picking Chicago too with the home field advantage. Plus, it's a rain game, and they both have really good running backs now. So, but yeah, I'm going with Chicago on that one.
Yeah, I'm going with Chicago too.
Yeah.
Does Arizona have a line now, an offensive line? I know that Rick is building a running team there, right?
Let's look at his line. So
yeah, he got a couple of tackles. Oh, nice.
That's his center.
That's perfect center for the running game.
Let's see his guard. That's one of his guards and the other guard. So he is building up that running one. His left tackle. And his right tackle.
Yep, he's going to be able to run this year. I think so.
Yeah.
Check out his rookie running back.
That's
See how he panned out.
now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a close game.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm still picking Chicago, but this one is going to be close.
Yeah, because he's got a good defense too.
Yeah, defense looks pretty good.
I'm going to be the outlier, and I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one.
You mean Arizona?
Or Arizona, excuse me. Yeah.
I was going to say, what league are you in?
I was looking at your name, Grim, and I was thinking Minnesota. I don't know why.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you wake up before noon, brother.
No, it's because when the picture was on, it's Arizona. It says MIN, and I just But I think he's going to pull out some wacky voodoo stuff on defense. It's going to be a ground game, and I just think Minnesota's going to pull this one off. I hate picking against red zone, but that's my gut.
Yeah, I'm looking at their cohesion for their O-line, and they're like rated 69 on that. I wonder how effective the line's going to be. They haven't been together very long.
On
Arizona.
Okay. And here's Chicago's. Here's his center. And his right guard. Left guard. Tackle, left tackle. and he's got a third-year right tackle. So that's where he's sitting with his. So his lines, it's not bad. His defense, Red Zone's defense it's lacking a little bit. However, again, like we just talked about, it's the bar that matters, not the rating.
And cohesion, right? I think I remember that strong safety.
Because this is Red Zone's cornerbacks. So he's got the man-to-man. He's got the endurance. But
he's been
again,
there forever.
My defensive scouts are terrible, so that he's probably even better than this. I'm going to go with Arizona, actually, as well. I think Arizona is going to take this game by maybe a field goal. That's what I'm seeing.
Let me say this. I think if Arizona can win this game, it could be the tiebreaker at the end of the season for which team wins the division.
That seems like that division's always really close.
It is a close one. So yeah, so I'm going to go Arizona with this one. Next up is going to be Augusta against Ben's team, Tucker. So
next one.
So Swordblade Brian, here's his team. Who did he pick up? So he got a tight end as a not bad. The only thing is his endurance is low. Now you mentioned this about the injury and endurance, T-Zach.
Yeah, have to be careful with this guy. But like in IHOF, the stadiums are pretty good, so it's not too much of an issue. But still, the guy cannot play too many snaps, right? He can get maybe 6-7 targets per game maximum. But when he gets the ball, he'll be dangerous. Look at that getting downfield bar.
And he's going to catch it.
That's the guy that I've told this just to in the past. That's the type of guy that I would just throw like in the red zone, right? So you make like the best use you can for the targets. You get to the red zone, you throw to this guy instead of wasting, these passes when you're still like in your own 20-yard line or midfield.
That sounds like a really good strategy, honestly.
I think it's good for this low endurance guy. So you make like this, you kind of maximize what they can do. They may have like a 30-yard gain, but when you're starting your possession, but you go from like the 25 to the 45 of the opponent, and then you have to punt after that. It doesn't help much.
Well, he's done good with his team. He's put together some good guys. Now Banks is still fresh, so he's not there yet. It's going to be good to see how he plays this season. Hopefully he gets him playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Tucker for this one, though. I mean, I don't think there's any stopping Ben for the next few seasons.
Yeah, but
and he's at home.
If you're going to play the toughest game of the season in week one, it means the more chance to win a couple of games.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say Tucker as well. I think they win 14 this season.
I'm going to go out on a limb and pick Tucker, too.
Yeah, definitely Tucker.
Yeah.
Tucker, yeah.
No outliers? Where are you at, Howie? You gonna pick?
There's a few things that you don't ever do, and one's pick against Ben. So we're going with Tucker.
I'm also going to pick Tucker. And the reason being is that I'm not sure if Banks is ready yet to be the quarterback.
He's no Cushman, that's for sure.
There's no Cushman, that's for sure. But
And
I
I
think
have that rival.
I think by mid-season he'll have him ready, Banks, but not for the first game against Tucker.
That sounds about right.
And by the way, he picked up Red Zone's quarterback, Daryl Taylor.
See that?
I guess-
German Terry still get the start though.
Yes.
Yeah, I draft this guy if I remember well. Yeah, Fort Wayne. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he looks like a T-Zac player, quarterback.
You picked him up.
Yeah, around 21-04. So yeah, I remember this guy. And then I traded to Red Zone for whatever, maybe a third round pick. Yeah. But he's good. Yeah, he can play. Still 23 TDs, 10 interceptions. He can play pretty well.
Oh, now Ben has him. Okay, next up is Bordeaux against Merchant Man. Merchant Man, you want to tell us about your improvements since you're here on the show?
The bad news is our passing game is going to be not as good as it used to be.
Why is that?
Evan Drake is really, really falling apart. I think the most important part is that his avoid interception rating has completely vanished. That's the thing that you can't see in the player report, but it's there and it's no longer there. He used to be one of the top 5 guys in avoid interceptions, and now I think he's maybe a 25 out of 100. So it's terrible. And the rookie just isn't going to be that much better. So.
Oh, you mean this guy here?
Yeah, I think my scout is one of the best, so he's seeing a bit more in this guy, but he's going to be a turnover machine as well. So it's going to be tricky. The most important part is that one of the wide receivers retired, and Maxwell's route running is going down. So I'm really going to need my second year and my rookie wide receivers to step it up as soon as possible.
What do you guys think of Evan Drake, fellas? The quarterback.
I used to like him a lot. I tried to trade for him. I think that's before in my JP got him. And I think I gently lowballed Pizer, but we talked about lowballing the other day in the forum. I offered a second, I think, and then I said his ratings were going up and down, so I said I cannot offer a first, so it never happened. But he had a pretty good avoid interceptions and like this monster sense rush part. So I used to like him a lot, yeah. And then
he used to be 100 in sense rush.
But when the avoid AI goes down, then it's difficult. The same happened to me with Corey Mason. If you guys remember, I had this guy in Fort Wayne, and then he just crashed at some point, and then there's nothing can do with it. It becomes unusable.
So once the avoiding interception goes down, you can't get it back up. It doesn't fluctuate?
Nah. I don't think so.
I think it's difficult to go up. It's like sense rush. When it starts to go down, it's difficult.
Yeah. Why did by the way, your wide receiver, Mats, why did he retire so early?
I don't know. I actually made sure he was getting the starts and getting more targets and yardage than the last couple of seasons, but apparently it was his time. So Yeah, that was Vinny Busey, as you call it. It's really too bad that he retired, but yeah, it's part of the game.
He didn't like your smash mouth offensive style.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
So Matt, are you going running this season, or are you going to go balance, or are you going to go passing more,
Uh,
or you don't want to share?
Everybody should know me. I'm always going to try to be about 50-50. That's my philosophy. I mean, you got to get the guys to play on the right down and distance and that kind of stuff. But I want the opponents to keep guessing. I don't want to have a game plan where everybody can see that I'm running out of the 104 formation. So.
Well, you're going up against Freeman, who's 35 years old. He's running back, Richardson. And his wide receivers.
It looks like he invested in linemen early this year.
The funny part is that his wide receivers are kind of like Maxwell on my team. They look awesome, but then you look at the route running and then it's like, yeah, maybe.
Okay, let's ask you guys this on the wide receivers. His route running is at 56 and 55. I always say anything over 50 is good. What are your guys' takes on this?
That's kind of how I do. I try not to have guys who are under 50.
Yeah.
Yep, me as well.
How about you, T-Zach? Is that your philosophy too? As long as they're over 50, they make the cut?
Yeah, I'm more or less the same, yeah. Below 50, I generally avoid. I try above 60, but it's difficult. Like 55, I take it. 50 with like a monster getting downfield or big play receiving helps a lot. But less than 50, it's difficult.
Bordeaux did a lot with his team. I like his team. So here's the rookies he picked up that you were talking about, Kodos.
Yeah, he got like a guard and a center.
Archie Arnold. I like this guy.
Yeah, he looks good.
But the problem is his intelligence is low. That's the only problem with him that I don't like.
I think most of the line has low intelligence in that team, right?
Yes, this one's very low.
Uh,
And this guy here, let's see, low. I wonder where he sits on the penalty rating. I know Howie's at the top with his penalties.
That's right, I am. Number one. Woo!
But this one here, I'm going to go with I'm going to have to go with Bordeaux.
I'll pick Bordeaux as well. Sorry, MIGB.
I'm going to pick my own team.
Yeah, I pick Merchantman as well just for home field advantage, but it ain't going to be by much. Maybe a field goal.
I'll go with the Merchantman too.
Yeah, I think I will too.
I'm going to go with Bordeaux. They had a good preseason.
Yeah, you guys finished the same record last season, 9-7. So you guys are close. But what you've been telling
We even
us,
split the series, yeah.
but what you've been
I
telling
think
us
we
about
both-
Drake, not gonna perform, tells the story.
It is.
Yeah,
And I picked a couple of very good defensive players in the draft, but they're gonna need a season to develop.
Yeah, that passing cohesion's way down for you too, MIJB. You're at like 52 right now. Unless
Yeah,
that's just
but that's
because you didn't have
preseason.
okay,
So
you didn't have your starters in.
I didn't have my starters in the last preseason game.
Okay, that makes sense.
Can you win games with your quarterback if you have a 52 or low cohesion? Like, I'll take this back. Let's say you have a top quarterback, but you have low cohesion. Can the quarterback still perform?
Well, Iowa's
Yes.
at the bottom right now, so we're going to find out.
To me, cohesion, very high cohesion is maybe 5-10% improvement of the unit. So everybody knows I like it, but it's not the end all be all.
I think it's pretty important, but you can still win. You can still get some good stats for the QB. I think the problem is when you get a close game, like in the playoffs and so on. I think that's when this 5-10% boost will make a difference.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, a little bit of each thing adds up. Like a little bit of cohesion, chemistry. What's the other thing that people talk about a lot? And if you add them all together, the head coach motivation, that will get you over the hump to get you in the playoffs, to get that extra win, or like you were just saying, T-Zach, that close game that you need to pull it off and win the game. That's when they all come into play.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
why I got a new head coach this year, because I just noticed the last few seasons with my head coach, he didn't have his motivation was at like 48. And I just noticed like I always petered out every second half of every fucking game I played. And it's just like, nope, I got to switch this. So we got a guy that's got like 75 now, and I hope that helps a little bit this season.
So you had games a lot, Grim, where you're winning, but then at the end you just fall apart, and the
Yeah,
other team
Yep, just look at my second halves of so many of the last like 3-4 seasons. Just punt, 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 field goal, maybe punt, interception, punt, punt, punt. It's just like, so I thought maybe motivation was affecting that, so I switched it up.
Here's my other question: can it also be, and I don't know if T-Zach did his magic on this, could it also be that you have guys that don't have the endurance, and that the second half of the game or at the end of the game they're not really playing their full potential because they're really being pulled out of the game because they're too tired? Could that be it as well?
Well, the only place I really lack endurance is just on a couple offensive linemen. And like I said in earlier chats, when they get tired, I switch them out for a new guy, you know? So I don't know how much that affects my second halves. I thought it was more probably the motivation thing on the coach.
But I wonder if anyone did a test of that. Let's say you just had everyone with low endurance on your team. Would they be good in the first half of the game and the second half they fall apart? Has there been a test on that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I could definitely see it.
I tested this quite a bit. There is an effect, but like in a realistic scenario, it wouldn't affect you too much because you would have like one or two players with low endurance. If your whole team has low endurance, then it's an issue. But I think there's other factors like Green mentioned, the motivation of the head coach. I think that plays a much larger effect than the endurance of a few players. It's different for receivers, right? For receivers, then if you have low endurance in the second half, then they're not very effective. But for the offensive, defensive line and other positions, it doesn't affect too much. Like secondary, I would say.
Next up, Brooklyn against Williamsburg. Here you go, Grim.
Yeah, man.
What was your record last season? You were 9-7. Brooklyn was 3-13, which was a shocker for Brooklyn being down there.
No, but we split the games last year, and we've kind of split, I think, a few times. And I haven't really, last season, maybe the season before. Let's check this out. Yeah, so just the last couple of seasons, I've been winning my home openers, and that hasn't been the case for seasons before that. I always tend to lose. But this one's going to be, I think I can pull it off just because Jop's got a couple new pieces that he's got to work in. And if I pull this off, then I think I got a chance at maybe 9-7, maybe making the playoffs. And I think if I lose this one, I'm staring down the barrel of a 6-10 season.
Are you going to go more run with your team?
No, I'm going to keep it balanced. I got to get McElrath his carries, and I still don't have great wide receivers. I tried to address that. I picked up Reginald Harding from you, hoping he helps a little bit.
Let's look at your receivers.
In my slot. And then Jackson Davidson will probably play more than Franz will.
By the way, Hardings did well for me last season.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's the reason why I traded for him.
All right, so this is your wide receiver crew.
Actually, Jackson Davidson instead of Franz. Yeah, bottom guy. He's probably going to play. He's going to play more.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at, fellas, for Williamsburg. That's his crew.
Well, we'll see what we can do, man.
Well, the route runnings are all over the 55 mark.
And they're all under 70. It's iffy.
What's that?
It's none of them is like in the 80s, so it's yeah.
I agree. It's going to be hard, but we've done it. Made the playoffs the last couple of seasons with the same garbage wide receivers, so we'll see how it goes.
How's your chemistry, Grim, in the passing game?
I can look it up right now.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
You mean this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah, not there, man.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. I think, especially for the offense, for the passing game and the running game, right? Chemistry.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, we're just not there yet, and at this point, and just not even really going like Donald Wilkerson, wide receiver. He's not an affinity at all, but it's just like I just need someone with route running and big play, So, but we'll continue to work on it.
Well, you're going up against Adams, his running back, Alston. Let's see his receivers. Oh, he's got the rookie here.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Now, he can still play, even though his route running is low at 22, it can probably be higher when he's playing them. Sometimes they play higher than what they're showing.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely see Ellard getting at least 1,000 yards in his first season for sure. He's got Hirschberg as well.
He's got Hirschberg.
So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I just hope Roger Adams shows up and is the Roger Adams of last year, throwing 29 picks. So keeping my fingers crossed for that, at least in the first game.
That, you are correct about that. It's all up to Adams, because here's his line. Here's his center. Good center. He's playing this guy at left guard.
Yep.
His right guard. So he's all good running his left tackle. So maybe he might switch a guy up on left tackle because his left tackle is a little weak. But outside of that, he's got a good team.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pick Williamsburg, but the last time I played against Brooklyn, he passed like a lot of 8 and 9 routes, and these are dicey, right? So you get a lot of like variations from season to season. That's why I think his QB went from like a very good performance to 29 interceptions. So it depends which version of the QB will show up. It's like a high risk, high reward game that he's playing.
Oh, wait a minute. What did you just say about his quarterback? He played the wrong game plan?
He plays like the long pass, or at least he used to play the long pass a lot. But I think he plays like a bit. He overplays a bit too much the long pass. So I mean, if it works, it works. It's nice. You get 2-3 long TDs and you win the game. If it doesn't, then you get a lot of interceptions. The Brooklyn QB Adams.
Hey Ben, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Hey Ben.
Oh, the boss man's on board.
Here we go.
Know about all that now.
You're too late. We already talked about Tucker.
We all picked against your team, Ben.
Yes, we're
No,
just
we
going
didn't.
down week 1, talking about the teams and what they're going to do. We're in Brooklyn and Williamsburg, and who's going to take it, and talk about their team a little bit. What players they put in there that are helping out.
You say you want me to talk about their team?
No, we're all talking
No,
about
oh,
it, but you
okay, all right.
you can chime in. Right now, we're on. We're saying who's going to take the game, Brooklyn or Williamsburg, right now in week 1, and so people are leaning towards Williamsburg to take this one against Brooklyn.
And I'm gonna say no sleep till Brooklyn.
Okay.
That's just a quick glance at the rosters. I'm just not having really, checked into teams much. I do see Williamsburg has a decided chemistry advantage, but Brooklyn looks pretty strong roster wise though. Just pure personnel. They seem to have a pretty significant personnel advantage just at first glance. Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. I'm gonna say Brooklyn then.
T-Zach was mentioning the quarterback for Brooklyn, that if he uses a certain game plan, his quarterback might not do well, throw a lot of interceptions, so that can tilt the scale in Williamsburg's favor.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm eating a snack. So, I mean, yeah, game planning can always tilt the scale. And interestingly enough, I always like to put it, and I know T-Zach did a video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But generally speaking, game planning, I feel like it can add 5% and it can subtract 100%, and anywhere in that range. In other words, you can make your team better than a baseline with a game plan, a little bit better than a baseline, but you can make your team a lot worse with a bad game plan. You are capable of. I mean, you can destroy your team with a bad game, but if it's bad enough, you can completely go 0-16 just on the game plan alone.
Okay, so
but you can't go 16-0 on game plan. So, yeah.
Then we want to ask you this question: Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
their quarterback. Here's the guy. You see his stats.
Yeah, ratings are great. Stats are bad. This is the guy we talked about a little bit earlier, right? I recall a few weeks ago in a thread there was a post about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I remember then, and looks like they've added a receiver. He's very young. Okay, I remember then thinking, yeah, he's had terrible receivers. First of all, his offensive line was mediocre. Yeah, this is the team I'm looking at now. Not much of a running game. So, there was all the different things that could help a quarterback and a young quarterback, like I think we've talked about before. There is definitely some inconsistency. The younger the players are, now he's 77 current. You're not going to see nearly the amount of inconsistency in his performance. However, somebody's got to catch the ball. And it looks like, just at first glance, there's only one guy that's really particularly good at that. Let me. I'm running through his roster on my screen here. Yeah, I mean, very low route running for a lot of the receivers. This guy Rex Johnston could be decently helpful. And Tanner Guthrie's young, also very low endurance. So, it's going to be tough. Yamashita is really his only true weapon. Maybe some role player receivers, but it's he can't do it by himself, I guess is what I'm saying. And I haven't looked at his game plan. But I don't suspect that that's the issue. I suspect it's the personnel more than anything else.
Clear. Okay. So going back to Williamsburg and Brooklyn, I'm going to pick Grimm, Williamsburg. He finds a way of making it happen. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. So, Grimm, you're going to get my vote on that. I'm taking that game for week 1.
I'm taking Williamsburg too.
Yeah, Grimm's got my vote too.
And mine.
Yeah, I just think we got better affinities and probably more cohesion right now, so that might help us.
I just give you a home field advantage.
Until
thanks. Thanks.
Until Jobs figures out what he did wrong last season, I have to go with you, Grimm.
I'm going to go with Williamsburg too.
Right. All right.
So am I standing alone here?
I guess you are.
Okay. All right.
I will give you, he does have a way better roster than I do.
Yeah, he does. However, until he figures out why he went 3-13, you're taking this week 1. He might figure it out midweek, but right now you're going to take week 1. Ben, you want to tell us about your team really quick? You picked up
sure.
Daryl Taylor?
Yeah, I don't really know who's going to play quarterback.
Because I didn't think anyone was going to go after this guy because no one wanted to trade for him. And then he hits the market. I wanted him. And then all of a sudden everyone's bidding on him.
Yeah, I don't really know why so many people were bidding on him. He's got great. He's great for a high pass game plan, but not many people do that. So otherwise, I'm not sure what I'm not sure why others were bidding on him. Now that I've kind of switched in that direction, he made sense for me, particularly since I mentioned it a while ago. Taylor, who I think he won MVP and threw like 53 touchdowns. I mean, I'm not paying that guy what he's going to ask for next year. That's not happening. So, especially since I've got Taylor and Giles, who both could run the system just fine. But this year, there's the option of having multiples, so everybody's salary request is a lot lower because none of them are highly rated. I may switch them out some. We'll see. I'm not sure, but I definitely needed somebody that I could count on. And Taylor also is going to be a lower interception guy than Giles or Terry, for that matter. So that's why I went after him. As far as the rest of the team, we added a really great offensive tackle in the off season, and nobody else is going to contribute this year necessarily. Well, one or two of the receivers will get some snaps. We kind of try to work the endurance a little bit. So one or two of those receivers will get a few snaps. But and the tight end we picked up a tight end for minimum salary. He'll get some looks. He's low endurance, but he's tight end too, so no big deal there. Other than that, really the only change is going to be Adrian Guy, the big stud left tackle, who actually he's going to play right tackle for Tucker, at least this year. So there it is.
How do we know you're going to get Adrian Guy? I kind of had a feeling.
I mean, so it's one thing I want to talk about his can I talk about his contract and some of the discussion around that. So the thing that I actually had written up a post and I didn't have time to finish it. The thing about any top tier free agent, we talked about shorter term contracts, and there's some discrepancy over whether if they had if it was 3 years for 90 million, let's say 90 million bonus for 3 years versus 150 million bonus for 5 years. Is it the same or is the shorter one better? Regardless of that discussion, I do tend to think the shorter one's slightly better in FOF terms. Jim himself said the FOF players have egos. They like to hit free agency again because they think they'll get even more money. But that being said, and that was a while ago. That was a few iterations of the game ago. So it's possible he's changed that. I don't think he has, but it's possible. But think of it this way. And I'm looking at this and not knowing what I'm going to find. But if you look at the biggest cap hits page on the site, I'm going to hazard a guess that the guys with the biggest cap hits at offensive tackle in virtually every other position are going to be free agent signees because they're hitting the open market. When you're bidding against all these other humans, you are going to end up paying more. So why would you stretch that contract out any longer than you absolutely must? So offer the shortest contract you can, and then you're going to get to renegotiate the guy for less money. In most cases, if you're talking about a top tier free agent, in some cases, of course, if it's a non-top tier guy, he may play well. He may start 16 games and ask for more money. But if it's a top tier guy, his biggest salary is going to be on the open market. Salary bonus, his biggest contract is going to be on the open market, not what he renegotiates for when that contract is up.
It seems like 3 years is.
I'd rather have him 3 years. I'd rather pay him that big salary 3 years than 5 years. Is the bottom line.
It seems like 3 years is a Goldilocks zone for players. Like trying to get a free agency in 2 years, it's hard. And what's his name? Iowa was trying to get his re-sign his quarterback for 5 years. That wasn't happening. But 3 years seems to be the spot.
Well, for most free agents, particularly unless they're old, 3 is going to be the minimum. 3 is the minimum. You can't go 2 with a top tier free agent at the beginning of free agency. It's much later in the game that they won't even accept it. They won't listen to the offer. So that's a game mechanism new to FOF 8. It was because of first it was 1 year deals. Then when a lot of leagues banned 1 year deals, everybody started signing players to 2 year deals. Then Jim forced 3 year deals on the best players. So which I think that's a good move on his part. But older players will often ask for 2 and sometimes even 1 years in free agency. But anybody, he was year 5, I think. Yeah, anybody that's like a year 5 player, he's going to ask for 3, 4, 5 years. But 3 is the absolute minimum that he'll accept, and that's fairly universal.
Good to know. That's good to know. This is why I like doing these chats, because there's information that's given out that can help the community that a lot of people don't know about.
Oh, it's a great learning experience for someone like me who doesn't have any experience.
That was from the guy that went 13-3 last year.
And getting rid of all of T-Zac's players. Okay, fellas. All right. So Ben gave us his take on his team. So you don't know who's gonna be your quarterback starting this season, correct?
I don't know that I will be surprised if I end up using the same quarterback for more than 10 starts.
What about the rookie?
Oh, the rookie? Nah.
This guy?
He's a good player. I drafted him purely because he's going to grow and he'll probably be a 60-ish quarterback that I can trade for better picks than that. He was the best player available at that spot. He he is not ideal for a high pass system like I'm running right now. But yeah, what was his? I don't remember the guy's name. Hold on, let me look him up.
You talking about this quarterback here?
He's a wreck.
This quarterback's going to be a 60 rated quarterback?
Maybe 55. Gustavo Ragsdale. Is that the one? I'm looking at my screen. Yeah, Gustavo.
Yes, that's it.
Gustavo Ragsdale. Let's see. What's he showing for you right now?
23.49.
Yeah, he's gonna grow. Let's see what he did in training camp, or Jim still calls. It's interesting. He calls basically all of preseason is training camp in Jim world. That was one. So let's see. He didn't. He only went up +2. But I just, like I said, I got a real good sense that he's one of the guys. He's an improving guy. He's real low to the good bars, but low to the combine levels. Good bars by my scouts, which are strong. On the lower end of combine, a lot of signs of in other words, a sign of masking. And let me look at something else here. I feel like his avoid interceptions ended up being pretty good as well, if I recall correctly.
41.9 on the website.
Oh, no, it wasn't. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, maybe I missed, but like I said, I picked him, and he went up +6 by the league scout. I picked him purely because I felt like he was going to be a guy that I could flip for more picks later on. And I didn't see anybody else right there that I really wanted. So.
Oh, by the way, Grim, Ben has a wide receiver on the market, so.
Yeah, I saw that, but I can't give up a first.
I have one for a first on the market still?
No, he wants a 5th.
No, I don't think I have anybody for a first.
Yeah.
The guy for the first, somebody already. I don't have anybody that good I'm trading.
He has it for a 5th.
Wait a second.
5th I have a guy like for a 5th. Yeah, that's what I said.
He's perfect for you, Grim.
So you got Matt Wolf.
Yeah, he's the solid route running. He's going to drop some balls. A pretty good possession guy. Yeah. Great third down catching, route running.
No, it looks like
and then great endurance.
Arnold Holdhusen, you still have for a first.
Oh yeah.
Yep, the rookie.
well, duh. Look at his bars.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, definitely him. I forgot about him. Yeah.
And if his endurance was a bit better, I might have hit you up on that one.
Oh,
what is his endurance?
I've
got 38. I've got 38.49 for his endurance. I don't know if that's going up or not, but yeah.
Yeah, we're making trades.
Yeah, if that gets to 50, I might be able to hit that.
Okay.
Not this season.
I got you. Well, he'll just sit around and grow some this year. He probably won't get, not with that. He probably won't get in the rotation much this year.
Okay, guys. Next up in week 1 is Colorado at Hanalei.
Hey, Howie had asked in chat if he could hit Texas up a little earlier because he's got a 5 p.m. deadline. So
my wife wants to go to dinner. It's too hot to cook, she said. So
we can get you right now. Texas.
No. Let's go this one. We'll get the next one.
You got it. So Colorado at Hanalei. Now I'm looking at Colorado's roster. He has a pretty solid roster.
Yeah, he does.
And he does wonders with this quarterback.
Yeah, and he's only 5'10". What do you make of that?
I don't have the height thing with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I had a 5'9" guy that did quite well. Eric Loera, Loera, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember him.
And I think somebody else. I think MIJB got him, and he did well for him too.
Yeah, he played well for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah.
So he's got decent receivers.
I'll go with Colorado in this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was thinking Colorado. Pizer's done a good job, and it's hard to pick against Mouthpaw when he's active. But has he had a big flurry of free agency signings, or is he still sitting at 38 guys? I haven't noticed anything.
He's got 46.
46. Okay, so at some point he signed a bunch.
Yeah, but it was the
AI did.
The AI, yeah.
Oh, all right.
So based upon that too, I'm gonna go with Colorado.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Colorado too.
All right.
Yeah, same here. If the AI somehow finds Billy Russell, I would take Hanalei. But
So we're gonna jump to you, Howie. Texas at Capital City. Let's look at Texas and then Capital City. Howie, did you put any guys in here that can improve your team? I like your running back.
You know, I thought that I drafted some players, but I had a very, very poor offseason. A lot of guys took some volatility hits. In fact, I had a trade with Slam to get a lineman because Harvey Alarano, however you pronounce his last name, pull him up.
Yeah, that sucks, Howie.
Yeah,
I saw that, and I'm like, no, man, first round pick, second season, damn.
He just plummeted. He was a guy whose run blocking was, up in the 80s. He was my prototypical guard. I think his overall rating was mid 60s, maybe a little bit higher, and he just plummeted. So that was a hit. The linebacker that you guys all like, Billy Fulton, he plummeted.
Yeah, Arellano's got a volatility of 92.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep. So, but where's Billy? Did I cut him? Maybe I cut him.
You cut
Maybe
him.
you did.
I cut him. Yeah. Grim said he was going to be a shark for life. He will be because no one's going to pick him up, and that's it.
Oh, no.
So, and even the running back, when I drafted him, my scout saw him at 79, so I thought that maybe he could hit 80, and he dropped 12 points or so back to 65. But he'll still, with that whole recognition, he'll still do what I need him to do. And that Jeff Shoemaker is a good run blocking guard. So hopefully he'll step in and be able to fill in the gaps. Doesn't have much in the pass blocking. So I was hoping to pass a little bit more, but I think the offensive line will take a little bit of a cohesion hit, dropping Harvey.
No,
but I should still be able to run the ball effectively.
And you're going with Boeheim?
I am. Now, T-Zach, I got to ask you a question. I traded you a 4th-round pick for this guy.
yeah, if I remember well, yeah.
And I remember, I looked at him like, God, that's a steal at a 4th round. What didn't you like about him? Was it the timing bar?
The sense rush. I mean, he cannot play in my system.
Yeah.
I just got him because for some reason I thought sense rush would go up, but it never did. And then I said, I better get rid of this guy, as fast as I can.
His overall rating has gone up because when I got him, he was overall a 49. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
at that point, I still had Vital. So I was like, this is a guy that might grow into the system. I'm surprised he grew this much.
Yeah, I thought he would grind a bit, and grow, but still, I mean, I wanted the roster space, so I had some I think 5 or 6 QBs, in the pipeline, and I wanted someone that was an affinity, like an exceptional affinity, and this guy wasn't. So then how many sacks does he take per season? Have you checked that?
I haven't checked that, but the last couple seasons hasn't been that many.
No, 19
35.
last year. Oh, yeah.
35 2 years ago, 19 last year.
Yeah, he's playing well. Yeah.
Well, and he, let's be honest, I think he missed a bunch of games with a trick elbow.
So he's probably averaging around 30-something sacks per season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he missed 6 games last year.
You got a good one there, Howie.
But Howie, you got the wide receivers. That's for sure.
I do. Curtis Dixon has been my go-to guy. I think he's either he's a primary or a secondary target on almost everything that I have. So he's a stud. I'm glad that I drafted him. Corey Rose has come along, so he'll get his share of targets this year. Mathis is kind of on the downward slide. He's dropped the last 2 years, and he was a pick that probably I wouldn't have made if MIJB didn't draft Vinny Busey, because they were taken in the same draft, and Busey was the guy that I had my eye on. So had MIJB not taken Busey, I would have taken him, and he probably would have retired on me last year.
Now, T-Zach and Ben, since you guys are more experienced in this, top wide receivers, you can get away with a crappy quarterback if you have top wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And, crappy, you have to remember the way that ratings are created in FOF. The range. Crappy means a bad NFL level quarterback. Okay, so, it's not your second cousin who played backup for Slippery Rock. It's a 0 rating is a crappy NFL quarterback. So you have to think in those terms and think in terms of, okay, he's got the two of the top receivers in the league who are open all the time, and he's got an offensive line giving him all kinds of time. Well, guess what? A crappy NFL quarterback can hit those open receivers with all the time in the world. So that's there. There's not a disconnect there to really real life. If put a medium tier quarterback back or a bottom tier starting quarterback back there and give him open receivers all day long, and guess what? He's going to look great.
So, and we asked this question to the other guys on last chat. If T-Zach or Ben, you're sitting at 1.1 to pick, and you have a top quarterback coming, or you have a wide receiver, which one do you take?
I'll let him go first.
Okay, you get a Livingston, as Toronto has, or you get the top wide receiver. Let's look at
Let's say you got a 99 a quarterback and a 99 a wide receiver.
There you go. Make it even easier.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Wide receiver, no question. You just take the wide, especially if it's 6'3", like the guy I had in Kansas, some time ago. I mean, no question. I mean, you can get away with a low-rated QB, but not low-rated wide receivers.
Well, I mean, if I'm sitting at 1-1, I'm trading the pick and getting the other guy at the second pick. Whichever one somebody wants to give me a ridiculous amount for, I will gladly take that ridiculous amount. That being said, if you force me to pick, I'd pick the wide receiver. But I would absolutely not make a pick in that scenario.
Okay.
I would still pick the receiver.
I'm dropping down to 2 and taking all those picks. And part of that is, I draft well, and so if I get 3 or 4 first round picks in a couple of seconds, that's gonna, I'm gonna have a really good team for a long time. So
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Goes to show how people see wide receivers in this system.
Especially after the right. So there was some discussion around when the patch came, like the 8.3 patch, that receivers lost their value. It's the opposite, right? You need even better receivers now. So if you can get a receiver, you get a receiver.
Now, this is Capital City's wide receivers. The way I'm looking at his team right now, I don't think he's ready, and I'm going to go with Texas to take this.
I'll say Texas as well.
Yeah, count me with Texas.
Texas for me too.
Okay. Next up, Fairbanks at Oakland. So Jugs is hosting Fairbanks. Jugs went 10-6. Fairbanks went 7-9 last season. Jugs put up 414 points. Fairbanks put up 294 points last season.
The story for Oakland is the quarterback situation.
Oh dear.
You got.
They don't throw much, but holy cow, yeah, they do have a situation there.
I mean, Haskin is holding out. If he wasn't, no problem, but he is. So.
Well, and they're actually kind of thin at running back too. No, they are thin at running back as well.
That's unusual.
Right.
Interesting. That is unusual. He was on last chat too, and he was talking about picking up some more running backs. Maybe it's a money issue. Maybe he didn't have enough money to get the guys he wanted. Okay, here's a situation. He's got these two quarterbacks. And let's look at his wide receivers. He has Borders here. And he has not really much. He just has that guy Borders. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, what he threw about 25 times a game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's there is still absolutely, definitely a bonus or non-subtraction or whatever you want to call it. There's definitely an advantage on the passing game when you run as much as he does. So that's unquestionably a thing. Now with the two guys that he's got to go with, though, I don't know that there's that much of a bonus. I'm assuming he'll use Lauritzen as the quarterback. Actually, well, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. He's got some money. He's got some cap room. I don't know how much Haskin wants. Has he been offering him? I mean, he could be re-signing him this, for the week one stage.
Yes, he can be. And let's take a look at.
I'm just looking to see if he's offered him. Lauritzen was a new signing. No, he hasn't offered him anything. Maybe he's not planning on it. He's probably not planning on it then.
Wow. He's asking for too much bonus.
Yeah, he hasn't. So Haskin must be asking for, yeah.
Well, then he's going in with Lauritzen. That's going to be an interesting week one then. See how that plays out. But like you guys said, he runs more, and so it might benefit. But even with quarterbacks like this, and this is what I was speaking of, a bad quarterback. This is what I consider a bad quarterback. And what's his quarterback? He's got Washington.
Yeah. And I'll say this, if I were going to use a bad quarterback, I would be looking for somebody who at least isn't going to throw a lot of picks. And this guy's like a 27 avoid interceptions. So that's not the guy, I would be throwing out there. I haven't looked, I haven't really looked at the class for that, but I'm sure there's some 50 to 65 avoid interception guys still in free agency somewhere.
Well, Fairbanks has a nice tight end. He's got one wide receiver. The other two, let's see what they look like. Not really much there. And nothing there. And what's his running game? Now, he only put up 290-something points last season. I'm going to go with Oakland on this one until you can show that he can put up more points and do something with his offense.
Yeah, I'm picking Oakland too.
I'll go with Oakland.
Yeah.
I think they should
I'm
try
sticking with the champs.
I think they should try to hire Cooney, who's in free agency, for like $4.5 million.
Oh, the QB?
Okay.
Yeah, Fairbanks is old QB from the last couple seasons. I mean, he's not great, but he's better than what they have.
Oh, he's got Rhodes, Landon Rhodes. Who had him before? That's right.
Red Zone had him too, I think.
Yeah.
And it seems like no one can get this guy to work. So, Ben Tezak,
Which guy? Who are we talking about?
Landon Rhodes.
Yeah, his avoid interceptions is horrible. It's difficult to work with him.
It seems like every team that has this quarterback cannot get him to work.
Just throw it long and take some picks. I have plenty of avoided. I don't care. If he's got, I think Fairbanks has a couple of receivers. Do they not?
He's got one and a tight end.
He's got a receiver and a tight end. Yeah, chunk it down the field, take some picks. You'll be
And his
fine.
avoid interception is 21.2.
What was that guy that he was throwing 40 touchdowns and 25 picks a year for Tucker? I mean, kind of treat it like a punt.
Yeah. Fairbanks is running Eric Coryell as well for offense. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, so he's got bonuses on those longer passes. Yeah, that's.
Was Henson the guy with the interception for Tucker?
No, Donovan Muck. That was him.
Yes, I remember that.
22, 26, 26, 30, 31, 24. Those were his last 6 seasons interception numbers for Tucker.
Ah.
I know T-Zac's gonna have a conniption over that. I don't mean to give you seizures, brother, but
He averaged 5,000 yards a season though.
we were just like I said, we just jumped it down the field and let the interceptions come.
Well, when he hears this video, Fairbanks, he'll probably start doing that. But for week 1, I'm going to go with Oakland.
Yeah, I'm going with Oakland also. I do like that. Between their quarterback, Fairbanks could have a little something cooking there.
I think he'll pay the QB, Oakland. I mean, he's a 16-year starter, so he'll bring a huge cohesion bonus.
I'm going with the upset, Fairbanks.
Ooh, you see, I like Fairbanks, but I can't pick against Juggernaut. Every time I do, he ends up making me eat my words. So we're going with Oakland.
Yeah,
he's playing at home as well.
And I want to throw something out there because I don't know the answer to it. I don't remember if I'm using current or future for avoid interceptions. I don't remember. That's on the site. I think I'm using his his top side, his future, but I don't really know. I will look that up and let y'all know what it says.
Is there a way to calculate this, by the way? Obviously, there's a way to calculate it, but is there somewhere that I can look to see how?
I think I have it. T-Zac's had it posted a couple places. I have it somewhere on the IHOF site somewhere. Somebody asked me about it, and I posted the formula. I can grab it and post it in the chat here. I have it.
T-Zac has a site for that.
Obviously, it's in my. There's a site where you can plug one player in. I don't know if he has the formula published on the site.
No, it's on FOFC, but you post it on IHOF, so it's easy to find.
Yeah, give me a second. I can find it. Oh, there it is. Hold on, I got to strip out some other stuff. There it is. So I'm using future in my thing that I use to decide what free agents I'm going for. Let me see what I'm using in the actual code on the site. And of course, I'm using my scouts for that. Let's see. Where's the chat? Here it is. So you're going to talk about heads exploding, Clay. There's the formula.
Oh, yeah.
You can take the round part. I should have taken the round part out. That's my SQL code there. But everything else, and it has avoid interceptions.
It's essentially a function of the other visible bars, right? So you just multiply them by a given factor.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little history here. I didn't have the formula, but we noticed this back in I think it was 2007. It might have been it was FOF 2007.
Yeah.
I had a quarterback in the World Order of Football, Wolf. He had all his red bars, like every one of them was 65 and up, 65 to 80. He was on my team. But his overall was 54 or something like that. And of course, he was an absolute interception machine. So it was the first time that this discussion that I was a part of this discussion of, okay, here's how you can see the hiddenness of it by this. And I think Stelmack was in the World Order of Football.
Yep.
And I think he came up with a formula for it back then, and then I think Tzak improved upon it for FOF 8. But yeah, it was noticed because there was this quarterback that just was throwing crazy interceptions, and his overall rating made absolutely no sense based on his bars. So
there was a quarterback recent in IHOF that I think you made a comment on it where you said, look at this guy's bars, but look at his ratings.
Yeah.
I think
it's Rhodes.
Red Zone had him.
Oh, is it Rhodes? Okay, yeah, I remember that, and I referred back to that guy in Wolf at the time. Yeah, that was just it becomes obvious when you see a guy like that's how it works, So that the hidden ratings are pulling down the overall, or hitting rating in this case. I'm sure it's the same way for running backs, but you don't notice it as much with the avoid fumbles.
Now, the avoid fumbles, is that tied to the soul?
I don't know. That's another rating that I ignore, actually. Well, I'll tell you the problem with it, yes, it's so variable. It's much harder, at least for me. I'm not giving the same guy 300 carries 6 straight seasons. So maybe it's just the way I play the game. No guy's getting that kind of contract to run as a running back for me. But it's harder to tell if a guy's high or low, even from his performance as a running back. I'm just looking at my guy I have now. So, yeah, he fumbled twice, and then 6 times. And in his first season, he had 289 carries. He fumbled twice. His third season, he had 287 carries. He fumbled 6 times. Is he really low? Well, which season was the bad dice rolls? Did he get lucky his rookie year, or did he get or did he get unlucky his third year?
Yeah, there's so many hidden things which I love that make the game. That's why this game system is awesome. That I find I don't want to crack it. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think with a quarterback, a quarterback is more likely to, get 500, 550, 600 passes a year, and you can see a pattern year after year after year. Running backs' careers don't last as long, and some people don't basically rarely re-sign them for big money, So it's hard to get a baseline for a running back. At least it is for me. I guess if I paid attention to some guy that Juggernaut's had for 8 years, I could get a closer feel for it. But
and
there it is.
And one more thing, the fumbles, they're just much less than interceptions. And with fumbles, you still have a coin flip whether you still get the ball back. So
right. Yeah,
that's
exactly. It's much less. It's much less damaging potentially. Yeah.
So next up, Fort Wayne at Atlanta.
Wait, but before we do that, I've got one question now that we got both Ben and T-Zach on here. We talked about this a little bit. I brought it up a little bit on the last two shows about quarterback style and offensive coordinator philosophy. How much does that matter to you guys? Like you go through and you read the help file that's in the game, and Jim states that West Coast quarterbacks, Earhart Perkins quarterbacks, the short throw versus the smash mouth, the Air Coryell, where it's the long pass quarterback. Does that matter, or is it just the bars are the bars?
The bars are the bars. I think it's a small modifier.
Yeah. So where it does matter, I am thoroughly convinced it does matter in the creation of the plays.
Yeah.
So in other words, but you can essentially ignore it because for as long as your West Coast game plan has plays that are solid or best for the vast majority of your plays, then you're okay running the West Coast. Your West Coast, even your game plan. I mean, you could pull out if you want to just use one playbook and pull out only the plays that are ideal for West Coast and use those. I've mentioned it before. I have a playbook for each philosophy. And the playbooks are plays that are very high in, best or solid for that philosophy. QB style, completely ignore that. I've never paid attention to it. I'm not saying there's not anything there. I'm just saying I've never had a reason to believe there's anything there worth paying attention to. I think
it's a very small modifier, but. In the end, like you only can choose a few QBs to play for you, right? So you're not going to have like a huge choice of players to look and say, I want this particular guy. So in the end, you look at the bars. So in the end, you look at the bars that you can have and say, I prefer this guy, even if it's short style or whatever, short passing style.
I mean, I'm 100% sure, just because I do ignore it in the law of averages, that I've had multiple guys whose style is short passing, quote unquote, who have done fine in my longer passing system. I'll bet MIJB has as well. And he does run a longer passing system. Evan Drake
I never paid attention to it.
His current quarterback is short passing quarterback. Yep. I just
And I've mostly had long passing QBs in West Coast. So
yeah.
And
as you see, I threw 80% of the time, 90% of the time out of quote unquote smash mouth. But all my passes were smash mouth passes. Does that make sense?
Well, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So I was throwing smash mouth passes, but so yeah, there you go.
So and I'm of the mindset too that the bar is the bar. It was a question that I've asked a few times. It's conversations I've kind of had through PMs when people ask, well, how come this isn't working? How come that's not working? And it's always one of those unknowns. I favor a rollout style quarterback. That's what I tend to use across my leagues. But I tailor the playbooks to the offensive style. So just like you said, Ben, I think I don't have any plays in my playbook that are worse than solid for what I run. But I just didn't know if it was one of those quick talks about little things add up to big things in the end. So
Yes,
I didn't know how much that it really matters, or if it mattered at all. And I didn't think it mattered that much. And listening to you guys talk, I think that put the stamp of it doesn't matter on that. So
yeah, but I've heard Quick talk about it, and I think it's something I've talked about too. That is the caveat there, though. Because it's a little thing, it may be that I've just ignored it, and I've just got, I've always said, 1.01 to the 8th power is like 1.3, so, I'm getting 1% on a whole bunch of different stuff. I don't know if this 1.3, I was just making that up as I went along. But you get the idea. You've improved your team because you've improved all these different things by 1 or 2%. You've improved your team a great deal. So we didn't improve our team by lining up the quarterback with the proper style, but we did everything else. So that's always a possibility in these things. So many of these things are next to impossible to test. And you do have to think, okay, Jim took the time to put that in and write some code around it. There's something there, but I think kind of what Zach said a minute ago applies to it. It's not like you've got 10 different options and you're going to pick, a quarterback. You've got a couple of guys that you're picking from in the draft, or there's one guy in free agency you're trying to sign. It just, you really can't. It's not something you have time and you don't have that luxury in this game if you're playing against even just not bumps on a log. If you don't have the luxury of deciding between short pass and rollout. If you're trying to get a decent quarterback, sure. If you're looking for the 30 overall rated guy, yeah, you can do that. But you're probably going for a better talent quarterback.
Well, we just talked about this before, Ben, where all the little things add up, where you're in a game that's close, and those little things that add up get you over the hump, get you that win. Like you're saying here, the game plan matching the bars, or like Zach was talking about your head coach, the motivation bar. That helps a little bit. Little bits here and there add up.
Yeah. We assume your game planning bar for your staff. I feel like that is a factor,
Yeah, the play calling bar.
That's what I meant. Play call. Yeah, the play calling. That's what I meant. It's it's a modifier to every play.
All right. Very helpful.
But there's so many. Most of these things are impossible to tease out on their own. So
Well, I know what's his name doesn't believe in the dice because he's like, how come Ben doesn't get the dice rolls against him? That's a red zone comment. So when he hears this, he'll be laughing.
Well, I think that goes back to if you've done 12 little things well. Your game plan's on point, your chemistry's not causing problems, your cohesion, your plays match up to your philosophy, you've got high motivation on your head coach, your offensive coordinator has high play calling, then you have a far better chance of the dice not mattering, and you have more talent. I mean, what does FOF say are the most talent? FOF has a problem, by the way, in the way it calculates talent if you don't have a fullback on your team. That's the biggest one. So, it's saying Harlem has the most talent. Kansas has the least, sorry, right now. Talent's a big deal, so
there you
that's
go.
Also, the more talented teams that are also doing all these things aren't as subject to the dice would be my response to that. Yeah, I mean, why? Yeah, obviously, Quick and I, for however ridiculous amount of time we've played this game, we've, in this league and in FOFL now defunct, he and I were 1 and 2 forever. in terms of total wins. There's something to that, and I think it's not because we have one thing figured out. It's because we do a lot of things.
Oh, everyone who's listening, there you go. Okay, next up, Fort Wayne at Atlanta. This is Slam. Slam's on here right now.
All right. Well, first thing, I think my team takes a step back this year.
You almost have to.
10-6, maybe 11-5. My offensive line is a question mark because I got one holdover starter from last year and an all new line, and the lowest cohesion in the league for offensive line. The defense, I just lost a couple of players. I got younger in the secondary with the two cornerbacks. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go 10-6, maybe 11-5.
I have no idea. Kudos to you for what you did last year. I remember looking at it going, how in the world? So I'm not going to hazard a prediction. Nothing that happened last year made sense. So I'm not going to try to. What you did was remarkable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm not going to pick against you in the opener. Let me put it that way. But I don't have a good. Looking at your roster, I don't have a good reason to pick for you either. So, there you go.
I'll pick Fort Wayne any day.
Same here. I've been looking at Atlanta. So, you first, Slam.
Hey, you had something clicking last year. I think it's going to roll over this year. So I'm not picking against you in the home opener. That's for sure.
No, me neither. Fort Wayne all the way, especially if Kevin's got to start that rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And you even had a red flag player on your team last year too. I was like, what in the world? They are, have y'all discussed that on here? The red flag thing?
Not much.
We've been going back and forth on this, Ben. I said this, that red flag players, sometimes they'll play well, sometimes they won't play up to their potential. That was one take. I'm probably completely wrong. And then someone said they can affect your locker room. Go ahead.
Yeah. We should definitely go back to the source on this and what Jim did comment publicly at FOFC, and last I checked, it was still up. And what he said, he can speak in riddles sometime, and it was somewhat of a riddle, but I think this was a fairly solvable one. I'm searching right now for the exact term, but basically what he said is, I won't know. He said, it was something about the announcers don't really know if a player's causing problems in the locker room and it's affecting performance. The coaches don't really know. And Jim said, and I don't really know unless I run the game in debug mode what the red flag is doing. And the search I'm doing is debug and red flag right now because I remember that he used that specific term. So that tells me there are multiple potential effects of the red flag, and they are random when they actually run. And Jim, it's not always the same, and sometimes it does nothing, and sometimes it does something. So
Livingston is red flag, and he hasn't had any problems over there. So
didn't they go? They had a rough season though, once, didn't they?
Yeah, there's one year that they were really bad.
Yeah. And Texas had a couple of terrible seasons with Vital as their quarterback, and he was a red flag.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding that original post, but it was very clear in my opinion, the way Jim phrased it, that there is it may or may not have an impact, and there are multiple potential impacts. There's no way to know what impact it is, unless you run the game, unless he runs the game and can look at what's going on. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I know.
Here you go. Here's the exact post. Craig said, can you really see it on TV? Wow, Joe Blow dropped that pass because his teammate is a bad influence. I mean, we think we can see it on the field, but how can we really determine that? That was what Craig said. Jim responded with exactly my thoughts. We don't know. The players themselves don't even know, and I don't know unless I run the game in debug mode and break it. So I'll post the quote in the chat here. So Jim saying, I don't know if it's causing a problem in this particular instance or not. And here's the link to it. This was within a couple of weeks of the release of FOF 2K7. Yeah, because this is November 2006 when Jim posted that.
Okay, so it has to do something with the locker room and them affecting players randomly from time to time.
Yeah, I think sometimes also the whole team. So I know I'm never getting a red flag. I had in Fort Wayne, I had this defensive end, Dominic Hammond, and one of the seasons he was like the defensive player of the year, one of the seasons I think, or close to that. And then the next season, the whole team was not performing. I just cut the guy, 65 rated, I think.
Well, let's throw some. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, then the next season we won the ball. So I know I'm not going to get a red flag again.
Let's throw some controversy out there.
Go ahead. Bring it out there.
Jackie Robinson versus Michael Sam. Was Jackie Robinson a red flag player? Yes. He caused locker room problems. Players asked to be traded because they didn't want to play with him. There were problems. But was Jackie Robinson so good that the locker room problems he caused were worth having him on the team? Yes. Right? Yes.
If you can get the production out of the player.
If you can get the production. Right, yes. So, flip side, why didn't Michael Sam get a spot in the NFL? I think because he was a marginal player. He was a marginal player. If he'd been a great player, there would have been no discussion. If Michael Sam had been a great player, he would have absolutely gotten a spot in the NFL. But you don't risk that locker room upheaval over a marginal player. That's how I see it.
Got you. But,
and that's how.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to do a flip on a flip. You have a great player, but you don't get the benefit out of it. You don't know how to get that player to play as a star. Do you cut him? Like, let's say you have a 60.
If he's a red flag,
60 rated defensive end, but you're only getting 2 sacks out of the guy when you should be getting maybe 13 sacks out of him.
If it happens a couple of years in a row, probably. If it's just 2 or maybe, I'd probably have to see 3 seasons. Because again, it looks to me like it's recalculated season by season, maybe even game by game. Is he causing a problem? I suspect it's season by season, though.
Ah.
And so
season by season.
Yeah, I suspect it's season by season. So, that's a hard one. But it goes back to is his upside worth it? The Jackie Robinson question: is his upside worth it? Well, yeah.
Like for Kodos, Livingston's upside is definitely worth it for him. So he's going to keep him. He's never going to drop him or trade him.
Right. Yeah.
For a defensive end, you just cut the guy and get the next one. You're gonna get like one guy that has like a native pass rush technique bar, and that's enough.
This is going to be interesting, this talk about this red flag, because there's going to be a wide receiver at 1-1, 1-2, or 1-3 with a red flag, and people are going to have heard this, and they're going to be thinking, do I take this guy? And can I make him work? Is he going to ruin my team? That's what's going to happen. You're going to see.
Aren't all the best wide receivers in the NFL red flags, though?
Yes, they are. T.O.
We should have more red flag wide receivers than FOF.
Yeah.
It's the prima donna position, man.
That would be awesome if we did. Actually,
I've drafted a red flag at 1-1, and I will do so again. I'm just saying.
okay. So back to Fort Wayne. Yeah, Fort Wayne. His defense did well. He only allowed 232 points. That's what really kept them in these games. So what am I going to pick?
Defense and good.
Slam. I'm going to pick your team.
All right.
Atlanta still has to get his quarterback together, so I'm going with I'm going with Fort Wayne.
Same here.
Same here as well.
I go with Fort Wayne too.
Next
I think I
up,
already said Fort Wayne, but yeah.
next up is going to be Chesapeake, which is Quick's team, and he's playing Frederick.
Chesapeake.
Yeah, Chesapeake.
Sorry, Chesapeake.
I agree too. Chesapeake.
Later, Allie.
He got his team playing well.
He's got all the chemistry and a good bit of talent. I feel like I think FOF and my just on the pure talent ratings have him pretty high.
Yeah, I'm picking Chesapeake as well.
Yeah, FOF has him with the second best roster, in the league.
Have you guys seen teams with good rosters not make it, even in the playoffs? That they just fall apart? Have you seen that?
Sure.
Oh yeah, lots of times.
Yeah,
And
my
we
own
just-
team.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we just-
especially in one game. Yeah.
yeah, we discuss Snapfinger all the time. He's always got a great roster and just can't put it together.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Quick's team definitely on this.
I see no reason to pick against the Pigs.
Yeah, FOF has him with the number 2 roster. I've got him with the number 1 roster.
I mean, that kind of roster with the chemistry, that's pretty scary looking.
Yeah, and there's no way that in my code I can't measure chemistry. So, I just glancing at what I'm seeing now, he's got to be the pick. He's got to be my pick to win it all.
Interesting. All right. Then we'll jump over to Harlem. Harlem is going to be at Toronto. Kodos, your favorite friend Harlem, XCOM.
Yeah. I wish I had his the little draft thing he has with where he can pick out good players instead of the ones I've been picking.
Oh yeah, let's speak about your draft picks because I know how. I mean, Grim ripped into your pick.
My picks have been pretty bad in general. Let's see. Who was this year's disaster? The defensive end Sculio or Sciolo? I don't even know how you say it. With no run defense whatsoever.
Okay, now my defensive scouts are terrible. So you guys have to pull it up, his guy. But this is a guy you took at 129.
So my thinking was that he was a defensive tackle, but he was the right way to move to defensive end. I had just had Bryce Brim, who was my best defensive end, retire, so I needed to replace him. I didn't see any purple defensive ends that looked good at that time, so I thought, well, I could convert this defensive tackle to defensive end and, replace the guy I lost. But obviously, he didn't turn out so well.
Well, just with that dash score and that agility score alone, I'm not touching that guy. Even if his bars are high, he's not. They're both green, and yeah, there's just no way I'm touching that guy.
Yeah, no, it was a blown pick. That's all we've had for the last like 3 or 4 seasons are loaned early picks, which is why I decided to trade both my top picks next year to Ben, get a couple of receivers.
Oh, you did. You gave Ben. What'd you pick up? Which receivers you got from him?
Let's see. It's Harris Griffin, who looks like a good possession receiver to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of a project, Roger Everett. It was funny. I almost drafted him, but I was afraid of yet another bust, so I passed on him, and then Ben picked him shortly thereafter. I ended up trading a second to get him, so I guess I could look at it as I saved some signing bonus.
So,
right.
So you gave a second for Everett, and you gave a first for Griffin?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll say, Griffin was a pure numbers game. I really liked him. I didn't necessarily want to trade him, but I was not kidding. I had 13 wide receivers under contract. So that's too many.
Yeah, no, he looks better than anyone we had on our roster, and he's younger. So
Ben has 13 wide receivers on his roster, and
I don't have that many anymore.
We're scrambling for scraps. But continue.
Yeah, it's like I can't draft a receiver to save my life. So the fallback position now is take Ben's cast-offs or. I wonder at some point if Ben will get so many draft picks that he won't know what to do with them, because he just he keeps
consolidate
receiver like a third rounder into a first round pick. It's like I'm feeding the beast, but I need something. I need receivers somehow.
You should have taken, by the way, Wolf, the receiver that Ben has. I would take him over Everett.
Yeah, well, that one was kind of I'm looking at him as a project a few seasons down the road. I hope he's filled out those bars some, because he's nice and tall. I know T-Zac was saying tall was good the other day for receivers, but the Randy Moss types, although he doesn't have getting downfield or his big play receiving doesn't look too promising either, but I don't know. They look better than someone I would pick. So basically this season, my defense is pretty terrible. We lost our best defensive end and our longtime free safety. So it's going to have to be the passing offense carrying us again.
Yeah, we looked at your secondary earlier.
Yeah, like I got decent cohesion and obviously the chemistry going for us too, but like just the raw talent is pretty lacking. But I was able to bolster my line. That was another Ben trade for that George Lassing game, right tackle.
Right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was when you signed the big.
Oh yeah. When I signed the milk pile guy, yeah.
Yes, I think we traded for a third for him. I remember right.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was the older guy. Yeah. You did.
Yeah, and then I picked up Alec Flash and I think he was wasn't he Claysville?
That was my guy.
I think he was involved in the trade that ended up getting me Livingston back in the day. Like you either traded me for the pick to draft Flashin, or you drafted 2 tackles that year.
Yes, he was in the trade. You are correct. Well,
yeah,
now he's on your team.
Yeah, so I ended up with both of them eventually. So he was one of the factors that let me luck into Livingston. And definitely, you guys were talking earlier about whether you would take the quarterback or the wide receiver at 1-1. I would definitely take the quarterback. Like, I'm not a good team. Like, I am not good at this game. But Livingston's been able to help mask that for, as long as I've had him.
Yeah, but like we said, if you had a 99 wide receiver, all the bars maxed out, would that wide
Those are hard
receiver
to come by.
do much better than Livingston for you?
I mean, look at my. I'm always a contender in the conference.
Yes, you are.
I don't know if a receiver would do that for me.
Yeah, I think this is. I think this is
Before
also
I
a
had
question.
him, and then after, it's a stark difference.
Yeah, I think this is also a question of sort of the owner's strengths and weaknesses too. And I think yeah, Livingston's the right pick to fit with Kodos. And Kodos is a bit what's the word I'm looking for? He's underselling his ability to put together a game plan. There,
No, I am good at.
You're good at
I have
that.
a good game plan.
yeah,
I took advice from one of those. It might have been one of the Ben videos with. I can't think of who the guy who was running them. Doesn't matter. But yeah,
Squirrel.
I took advice from that.
Hmm?
And,
Squirrel.
yeah, squirrel. So I spent quite a bit of time coming up with a playbook that was all like I don't have anything under solid in there. It's mostly best.
Mhm.
So I mean I have good plays, I think. So I think my offensive game planning is actually somewhere where I'm fairly decent. It's the roster construction just isn't going well for me.
Well,
You've
I
hated the offseason since 2004.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. Every year during the draft, it's like maybe I should quit. It's just what happens is I'll see some players I like. I'll watch them falling for a while, but they don't quite get to the bottom of the round. And then everyone who's left over, like I'll hear Quick's voice or Ben's voice saying, "Oh, well, you don't want a player who has like a 0 rating somewhere. That could be negative, whatever." Like Quick always says. But like that's all I see are players with something that makes them unpickable. And so I end up picking someone, and then sure to form, they become terrible immediately. Like I had that running back a few seasons ago who was an instant training camp bust. It's the only ones I really had any luck picking early have been like a couple of guards and my center. But outside of that, like I've had no luck drafting receivers. Actually, I haven't even tried to draft too many receivers. The ones who are left, I always think there's no one worth taking, and then Ben comes by and drafts them around later, and then I eventually trade for him.
Well, like Ben said, you're doing pretty well for yourself for not picking good players.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do. It's kind of like Ben says. I do some things pretty well, but the roster construction, I need help on, specifically the draft.
Trust me, I'm sure there's a lot of GMs that would say, I would trade places with you saying, I'll take the crappy players, but as long as I'm always in the contention of being in the bowl.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's like every season I look at my roster and I'm like, this has got to be the season where we just kind of fall apart. And, I've had 10-plus win seasons for 7 or 8 years in a row now.
Well, look at Harlem's roster compared to yours. He outbeats you on everything except for the quarterback.
Yeah, no, he's much better at drafting. Like I said, I wish I had his little tool that told you who to take.
See, I don't understand why he's not up there. He was 7-8-1. I picked him as taking your division last season, and I had you and North Plainfield right at second. Close. I think I had you guys like at 11-5. And him at 12-4, but he didn't. He fell to 7-8-1.
It wasn't. Was he the one who had the problem? Like
Quarterback.
all of his receivers were low route running guys.
I think his quarterback fell apart on him.
Yeah. It was either Harlem or North Plainfield that had like no receivers with any route running.
Yeah, it must be Harlem. No, he's got Durham boss.
Oh, but he does have that one monster Dorenbos.
Yes, that
he
was a running back. He converted into a wide receiver.
Yeah, he just tears us apart every time we play.
Now, T-Zach, you said something, if you're still on, about throwing too much to one wide receiver, that their effectiveness goes down.
Yeah, they can only take like a certain amount of targets. So if you keep targeting the same wide receiver, at some point they get tired and they don't catch the ball as efficiently anymore. So you have to spread it out, right? And that depends on the route running bar and the endurance bar, pretty much. So you have to test that and see how many targets they can take. But certainly, like for the top wide receivers, let's say 100 in endurance and 100 in route running, I think you can give 15 targets for these guys, and they would still perform, and you would get like enough TDs to make you win the game. For the other guys, if you're getting like 15 targets to one guy, it's too much. Right? So you have to spread it out.
Well, on this one, Kodos, I have to go with Harlem.
I'm going to go with Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto. I'll take Toronto as well.
I'm taking Toronto too.
Toronto. And I want to make just a quick observation. I feel like I've said this in the past, but it's worth repeating for just strategy in general. The things that Kodos was just saying. If you are, it's true in business, it's true in your personal life, it's true anywhere. If you have a good grasp and a realistic grasp of your strengths and weaknesses, then we can work with that. You can work with that. If you understand, I'm not as good as drafting, so I need to figure out a way to work around that, and that's what Kodos has done. I think there's a lot of GMs out there playing this game that are not good at drafting and don't know they're not good at drafting, and don't just to kind of accept that. No, seriously, I had a situation. This person, I won't say who it was, and they're no longer in the league right now. But that I don't even remember the player, but he wanted. I was trying to trade one of my recent draftees. It was a rookie or a second-year player. Very young rookie, second-year player.
Was it me, Ben?
No, it wasn't you. No, it wasn't you. Very young rookie, second-year player, and he's I don't remember what the exact round I was asking for him, but my comment was, there's no way you'll draft a guy in the second round or third round, whatever round it was, as good as this guy. You will not draft that guy. And he really got offended. I didn't mean to offend him, but it was just like, you're getting more value than that pick is worth. And he could not see that he was getting more value than the pick was worth. It's what led to that when I posted the pick value, like the average value of what you're getting. That's what led to that, was that discussion. I was like, I promise you, you're getting way more value than that pick I'm asking for. So anyway, I think I think we need to, evaluate our strengths, our weaknesses, and figure out, how can I mitigate my weaknesses? What's the best way to do that? So anyway,
well, that's true. I think you mentioned, Kodos, last time in one of your chats. I think it was with Squirrel and Quick.
Yes,
where
I did.
You said that
a long time ago.
He knows just to trade and get players that are already proven on his team.
Yeah, that was back in his first stint in IHOF, long time ago. 15 years ago or whatever.
FOF 204.
Yeah, it was FOF 204 days. Yeah, I noticed that he started. He was trading for 60-60 year 7 guys. There you go. And built a team that way, and built a championship team that way. So it works.
Yeah, it's my overall record's pretty good, despite the drafting.
And you prove that it works. Yeah. And
listen,
that's the route I would go too. My drafting is crappy. Only on offensive linemen I can do well, but everyone else is. And so going after the free agents if you can is the way to go.
Yeah, and if there's like a total stud, I'm pretty aggressive about trying to trade up to 1-1 or 1-2 to get him. Although I can't do that right now because people know my picks aren't going to be very good.
All right, so everyone's picking Toronto except for me. We will see.
Yeah.
We will see tomorrow how that plays out. Next up is Houston, San Antonio. So C-Max, he changed his team around. He went 11-5. He got Shea playing much better. His quarterback, that he was at his wits' ends with this guy, but now he's got him playing.
I'm going to pick San Antonio to win the division. Sorry, Slam.
Yeah, he kept all of his receivers and tight ends this year, and I think he's going to build on what he did last year. So I'm going to pick him to win this game for sure. But Houston, Cargot's got a pretty good team over there as well.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to go with San Antonio as well.
I see them both winning 10 games at least.
So I like this quarterback that he has. So how's his interception on this guy? Avoidance for Houston. Tyrus Dennis.
He's showing 28.9.
It's probably on the low side just by looking at the, a lot of red bars in the 58 overall.
Yeah. This is just like what Ben explained earlier.
So if you look at his roster is pretty good. He looks like he just needs a quarterback. Yeah, I'm going to go with San Antonio.
I would say San Antonio as well.
Next up, Iowa at Kansas. As you know, I paid my quarterback to stay on my team, Starks. And the only reason why I did that is because I figured out a game plan that the last 7 games, I went 1 of 6. I mean, 6 games win, 1 game lost. But he had, I think, 13 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, something like that.
Well, Huntley's going to be a great addition. I mean, especially if you can get him going right away this year.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And I build my line for just pass blocking. So I don't run the ball really. So that's just going to be my game. And my defense last season was ranked, 3rd, I believe. The only reason why we put up a lot of points against us is because of Starks threw so many interceptions that they scored right at short field advantage. So I'm more about not having the ratings, but more having the bars that work for the guys. That's how I play. In Iowa.
Team Beletnikov.
What's that?
Team Beletnikov.
Well, he's got that guy. As we know, he's got his top wide receiver. His running game, he also has this guy he picked up in the draft.
Yeah, and running him a bit more might help his passing game a little bit.
How's his blocking? Let's take a look at his offensive line. So here's his center. His right guard. His left guard. His left tackle. And his right tackle.
That's not terrible. Although he's probably starting that other guard rather than that rookie.
Oh, yeah.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Chip.
And his defense is not bad, actually. He put together a good defense.
Nice.
He's been working it little by little. I don't know. I'm going to say my team until you can get Valentikov to play.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas too.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas, but Jay-Zeke has the owner of Iowa, he has an interesting track record in CCFL, like in the old CCFL. So when he puts his team together, I think he won a ball at some point, if I remember well. But so he will completely use all the cap and all money for 5 years. But at some point he will win a lot of games. So he's dangerous. So watch out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's putting together a strong team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that bucket of guys, I call it guys who quietly know what they're doing. Like, not really flashy, but has had consistent success in other leagues. And I'm going with Iowa in this one. Sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I'll vote for Kansas.
Okay, next up, North Plainfield against Rochester. Sir against BG Bob. That Cert's always been, North Plainfield's been known for their defense. His quarterback didn't play well last season from North Plainfield. Threw a lot of touchdowns. A lot of interceptions last season. 19 of them. And he dropped. I think he was 11-5 the year before. Now he's 5-11 last season.
No, it was 12-4 the season, 21-06.
Oh,
Then
12-4.
5-11. Yep. 12-4 twice. Yeah, I think I talked about it last show. Outside his secondary, his defense is just not as scary as it usually is.
And he has a problem, like his receivers, very few of them have route running ability.
Yeah, and that's why he picked that Strickland, because we all thought he was going to pick a defensive guy in the first round.
We had him as picking defensive player, but he went offense. And Rochester, I like what he's been doing, BG Bob. He traded for this quarterback.
Yeah, got him to work.
Yeah, they surprised me with how good they've done the last couple seasons since Bob took over.
I really liked it. You trade for a veteran quarterback and he's playing well out of the gates.
I think I will be picking Rochester to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Rochester too.
Yeah, same here. I think I'll
Yeah,
go with
me
the
as
home
well.
team.
Home field advantage, I pick Rochester.
Yeah.
Rochester.
And we have Outer Banks against Moontown. Now, Haynes has been doing well with his team, Outer Banks. He took them, he went 8-8 last season. But the year before, he was 11-5. So what went wrong with him? That's his quarterback that he's going in with, Nichols. That's his receivers, which are not bad.
Yeah, all of them are better than anything I got.
Mm-hmm. Seems like everyone gets good receivers. Me and you, Grim, we don't. I'm going to go with Outer Banks until Moontown shows us what they can do with their team. Now, he's got this rookie guy, not rookie, fourth-year quarterback, Fredrickson.
Yeah, he just really hasn't got him going yet.
Oh, he has?
He does have that young wide receiver now in his second year that filled out nicely, so that's going to be a benefit for sure.
So he's got this wide receiver, and he's got this guy, but this guy has no route running. And he's got this guy here. Yeah, Outer Banks.
Does have a good running back as well, Jerry Shelton. So I think I'm going to pick Moontown on this one. Just hoping that he gets his shit together this year, you know. But he got a pretty solid roster if you look at the rest of it. Good defense. Got a really good cornerback in the first round this year.
What do you guys think?
I'm going to go Outer Banks.
I'll take OBX as well. Moontown has had issues over the years, right?
Next up, we got two more teams left. But go ahead, Matt.
I'm picking Moontown, but only for the home field advantage.
So you're going Moontown as well. Okay. We have four more teams. Paris at Gutenberg and Snapfinger at Orlando. So let's start with Paris at Gutenberg. I'm just going to say Gutenberg right away. However,
same here.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Hard to pick against Julio because he's really, really good.
Yeah, he's one of the better GMs for sure. I'll definitely choose Gothenburg. Am I the only one who says it that way?
it's probably the proper way. I don't know why I say it.
I say Gothenburg. Gotham.
Batman.
Yep.
I have to ask the Swedish.
Now, this is the wide receiver he got at 119. Barrymore.
Thanks to
That's MIJB's wide receiver.
What do you mean? This is a pick he traded away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got that pick from MIJB.
He did?
Yeah. Trying to short that out of your memory, sir?
Oh, no. I really love that it was pick 19 as well. So
It's a good pick.
That's rough trading that in your division.
Yep.
And Paris, what has Paris done with their team, by the way? Let's look at it.
Well, I know he got the running back he wanted this year, and this will be his fourth season in the league. So 3-12, 1, 5-11, 5-11. I think he can do a little better this year.
Here's his center, so he's going to run. His guard.
That's a nice center.
He's got a nice left tackle.
Linebackers look as bad as mine do.
What was that?
I said his linebackers look as bad as mine do.
Oh, yes. Now, how do you guys feel about linebackers? Are they important to you guys, or front four more important, like defensive end, defensive tackles?
I definitely don't emphasize linebackers. I look for like a defensive end, a cornerback, and hopefully a good safety.
Yeah, I do like linebackers, but mine pretty much all went to shit this year, so we'll see how bad I struggle. Maybe I won't like linebackers so much if we do well this year.
I love linebackers. If I could get like a stud one, I would get and play this guy for 12 years.
Really?
They're just so valuable for stopping the run and defending the pass.
Yep, the zone defense and the run defense. That's what I look for on those guys.
The problem is the cap, right? So you have to manage the cap carefully. Otherwise, the guy who's going to, at some point, this guy, I think Lunner from Fourth Wing, I think he's still there. He was asking more than the QB and any wide receiver. So, for the kind of philosophy that we had, it was a bit too much. But we still found a way to pay the guy.
Yeah,
they can be expensive. I love situational guys at linebacker in particular, especially having one or two guys that are pass defending linebackers. Just because of the way the depth chart screen works, you can put them in, and I'm looking there what the exact position in the third and long, against 3 and 4 0 to 3 wide receivers. You've got a pretty real strong chance of a pass there. And even if not, I just don't care about the run in that situation. So I like having a situational player that I can stick in there, and that helps obviously mitigate costs because they're not starting, they're not playing a bunch. They'll go from near minimum salary. So I've got a guy now. I'll look and see who it is. Y'all go ahead. I'll tell it in a minute.
All right.
That's funny. I said it last time, but Clay says he doesn't like linebackers, and then he has a linebacker defensive of the year last year. I'm like, how the hell does that work?
Yeah.
Did he have a bunch of tackles?
Myself? No, I played 3-4.
Oh, no, I mean, did the linebacker have a bunch of tackles?
It was sacks. He was big on sacks.
Oh, it was sacks? Got it. Okay.
This guy right here.
And some tackles. Like 60-some, I thought.
So all his years.
No, 98 tackles, yeah.
That guy?
That guy. So I had 7 sacks. Then the other year, I didn't really play him. For some reason, I moved him, but then I said, let me move him back, and I got him to 15.
Did you play him at inside linebacker, or is he playing outside?
Outside.
He was playing outside last year. Okay, that makes more sense then.
15.5 sacks. Well,
yeah. Not a lot of hurries and not a lot of knockdowns.
Yeah.
Honestly, the game overvalues sacks. It looks like he got some sacks and didn't do a lot otherwise.
But I agree. No, I like the hurries.
No offense on your player, but yeah, I think that was more a case of the game not really having a good algorithm for determining the player of the year. That's just a 3-4 outside linebacker who got sacks but didn't do much else. Interesting.
So next up is Snapfinger at Orlando. Here we go.
Ooh.
Now, Snapfinger, as we know, his roster is pretty decent. He went last season 3-13. His defense gave up 468 yards. And he's playing Orlando. Orlando went 5-11.
Snapfinger's offensive roster is decent. His defense is pretty down there.
Yeah, but he's got the offense to keep the defense off the field now.
And his secondary is rough.
Has the offense actually done that though?
No, they haven't.
No, because
I mean that defense that defense looks really bad.
They only put up 311 points last season.
What about yards per game? Let's see.
I'll go with the game. 15 points for Orlando. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm taking Orlando too, and I just keep rooting for him to turn the corner. I just thought he was going to do it a couple seasons ago, and last season he just hasn't done it.
Snapfinger only ran 3.5 yards a carry last year, second worst in the league, and passing yards per attempt. They were. Wait, where are they? I can't find them. They were a little above average yards per attempt passing. Nothing special by any means, yeah. So they didn't run it well. Their running game was pretty bad. Passing game was only a little above average. And I'm assuming the defense was pretty bad. Let's see. Yeah. They gave up the worst. Yeah, they gave up the highest QB rating and highest yards per attempt in the league. Yeah, I'm going with Orlando. Doesn't look like much has changed on the defense.
I'm going Orlando too. 15 points spread.
Yeah, I'm not buying the spread, but I'm picking Orlando too.
All right, fellas, that's every game in the books. And a little bit of talking about the teams and the players and strategy. T-Zach, thanks for sharing your insights. And Ben as well.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. Yeah, a lot of stuff to discuss about.
Yeah, thanks for doing it in the afternoon.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like the European guys. You'll basically. I'm rarely awake at 9 p.m. Eastern, let alone starting a chat.
Right.
3-hour chat.
So. Yeah.
You know what it is? Sometimes it's hard to get the afternoons because.
Yeah, sure. I hear you. Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. I'm just not a night person anymore.
Yeah.
Is there any other thing you guys want to share that that other GMs that can help them, so they're not throwing their computer out the window, banging their heads?
Ooh.
Nothing jumps to mind. That.
Oh yeah. So to me, one thing comes to mind. But first, I wanna thank you, Clay, for putting this together again. So. One thing I that jumps out to me is the talk about my team being in cap hell, and then all of a sudden the team isn't. I think a lot of teams are not doing. They can do a bit more to get the best value out of your cap situation. I mean,
yeah.
to me, being 2 million under the cap is where I want to be at the start of the season. Just enough money to sign a player when injuries hit, but when the season starts, you don't have to renegotiate anymore. Your team is ready to go. You don't need your cap room.
Understood, but how do you get out when you're negative?
When
You got to look at every single player first of all.
Yeah.
So many. I think so many. Oh, this is a big discussion. I mean, it's a good one, Zach. Every year, if they haven't played much, your year two. I mean, these are little things. Your year two and your year three rookies will take less money than the contract they currently have. If they haven't played much, every year you got to do that. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a couple of. You get a couple of million. You can squeeze a couple of million out of just renegotiating those contracts.
Yeah.
Then literally, I check every single player to see will he take less. Will he take less? And be willing to cut bait on a guy that's making too much and not producing.
And that's my problem. I'm just too loyal to my players, but otherwise I would never get in cap now.
So, hey, I got one question. So I've got $50 million in cap space. Is that helping me next year move up in the rankings for profits and the coach list?
So look at you raise a great point. I'm glad I forgot about that. I've looked at this recently, and the answer is no. It's really not.
Really,
the spacing of this list. Clay, can you go to profit.php as the off of its profit report? 50 million might get you 2 spots in the staff draft.
Let me try to move
That's
it.
Away.
Where do you want me to go?
Go to the website and then go to just click on any of those. Click on any of those links there that are on that page. That'll take you to the main website. Okay. No. I'm sorry. The links to the like in the transaction log and any of that. There you go. And go to profit report
under finances, Clay.
Under finances. Yeah.
Under finances.
Keep going up.
Yeah. There.
Got it. Found it.
So
out of the way.
Let's say you are. Let's say you're Orlando and you are 6th in the staff draft. Oh no, that Orlando wasn't the one I wanted to pick. Oh no, let's say you're Orlando. You're 6th in the staff draft. If you somehow saved 50 million, you'd be 4th. There you go. You jump up a little bit. Let's say you're Kansas and you save 50 million. You don't move at all.
Okay.
See, look at the gaps between these. Basically, a 50 million, even 100 million doesn't get you very far in the spacing of the profit page.
All right, but for me, being lower, kind of in the mid, it might be worth it for me to jump a couple spots.
Where are you? A couple of spots? No. How often did the coach you want go 2 spots before you? I'm gonna guess not that often.
Well, just this last year, Howie got that's 4 spots above me, but Howie got my coach this year, so.
And you may be smarting from that particular experience, but in general, right. I'm saying in general, 50 million might not get you a spot at all. Even some of the folks in the middle, like between Moontown and Outer Banks, there's 69 million. That down right in the middle, 69 million gap there. The next one, 43 million gap. The next one, 36 million gap. The next one, 10 million gap. The next one, 100 million gap. The next one, 60 million gap. So 50 million, it's fully possible it doesn't get you jack.
All right. So I should start spending my fucking money then.
I mean, there are ways to say, I mean, the way to improve your position is better stadium, better revenue, winning games, playoffs, blah, blah, blah. That's the main ways now, now Kansas is high. The other thing, I'll go ahead and throw this out there. how is Kansas? Oh, Kansas didn't spend. Now Kansas is really low on bonus and really low on staff spending.
How do you see that? Where are you looking?
You're number 3 and the third one in a row. You can see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
I'm just comparing you to the teams above you.
Yes.
Your revenue's not that great, but your expenses seem like your expenses were particularly low.
Yes, I try to keep down my salaries and stuff like that.
But your salaries are pretty high. Salary bonus is fairly. Again, there's just not that much margin in the salary bonus thing. It's staff spending. Tucker always is terrible in this because we fire and hire guys left and right. You pay for staff that you fired. You pay out their contracts. Like you see, we spent double of anybody else on staff.
Yeah,
because of that, or almost anybody. It looks like there's one team with 131.
Oh, but yeah, that makes sense. That's I'm glad you're able to answer that. I've always kind of wondered that. So,
but yeah, the salary spending is not where you make big jumps on the profit on the staff draft order. So that's the bottom line.
All right.
Well, there you go. All right. Anything else, fellas? That's about it.
No, that was something I wanted to share. So.
Yeah.
No, because I know a lot of people.
I think you're dead right. Yeah.
Dead right about what?
No, he's dead right about that being an important thing. Understanding when to use the cap outs is a big thing. When to cut bait on players. And I'll tell you one. I hate to say this because I think I benefit from it, but I'll say it. The same principle I mentioned about signing a free agent for multi-year, same thing for signing those undrafted rookies to these big multi-year contracts. Unless the guy is going to start 16 games, do 1 year because he ain't going to make that money the second year. He won't ask for that kind of money the second year. So I see, offers for undrafted free agents that are like, 2 years, $10 million. And unless that's all, unless that's a quicksand, no bonus offer, which they aren't, there's real money. There's heavy bonus in that. You're tying yourself up needlessly. Again, unless you think this undrafted free agent is going to be a 16-game starter and is going to ask for real money in year 2, okay, fine. But most of the time, that's not the case. You're signing him because he's 15, 49 and might be good in a couple of years,
Now, do you pick certain positions saying to yourself, Ben, I'm going to spend my money on these positions. Everyone else is fluff. But these are my most important positions that get the money.
Not really, is my answer.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, it's going to take more to get me to spend big money on an offensive guard or inside linebacker. But, if I've got a 85 inside linebacker, I'm going to sign him. I do feel like, stud players make big differences. So I'm kind of mentally going through this. Okay. I don't spend money on kickers, which, the recent maybe revelation of I don't kick field goals more than 45 yards. So I do not spend on kickers above minimum salary. Other than that, I've signed punters for good money. And I've even I got Benjamin Alexander. I think he might be the only kicker in the Hall of Fame. Or maybe he was at one point, I think. think there's others in there now.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he
he
was
was
the best kicker in the game.
he was the best kicker in the game. I paid him for his whole career. Yeah, so I won't even say that. That's not necessarily true. Yeah, he was amazing. It was during his career that Greg started tracking the kickoff distances, and his kickoff distances were like crazy, way above everybody else's. No, I can't. I can't think of one that but again, it's going to take a safety, inside linebacker, guard, running back. It's going to take a true stud to get me to put out money there at any of those positions. Mm-hmm. But if there's a true stud, I'm not going to not keep him, I don't think.
I was just wondering if other people are the same way, if they do that, or is it across the board they'll just, pay whatever. I only pay certain positions, and that's how I look at it. So I just wanted to see how other people thought.
You know what I think? You know what, Clay? Here's this is a better way of putting it. There are positions where I will pay premium or next to nothing.
Yes, exactly.
So I will. I'm. You're not going to find me paying in the upper 20% for safeties and linebackers necessarily, but you might find me having the highest paid safety and linebacker in the game. I'm not going to consistently have the highest paid safeties and linebackers and offensive guards, but if they're studs, I might have the highest playing one. Yeah.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Yeah. I appreciate you guys coming on, giving your takes, and sharing it with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been great.
And we have a big week 1 tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Get to see the upsets.
Hey, one other thing on the salary cap management. Since you brought it up, and since I noticed you couldn't find the profit report page, I wonder if others don't know where it is. Do you know what? Are you looking at the biggest cap hits page?
Hold on, I'll bring it up right now.
Are people using that? I mean, that is my Bible for free agency.
Really?
Here
we go.
To figure out what I want to. It's giving you the average of the top 32 or 64 if it's a 2-position starter. Your top. So it's kind of looking at what does a top tier player make at this position, and so I'm determining my contracts. I'm determining if I'm going to keep a guy. All right, I've got a 50-50 guard who's making $25 million. He's making top 30. He's making top tier. Top half of the league guard money, and he's replaceable. Bye.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm using this as a guideline, and of course it changes during free agency because people, obviously the tackle numbers went up during free agency this year because of Quick and I.
But that's I was just going to say that. So you look at this, but like you said, it's human players against human players, so they're going to be putting some crazy numbers in there because they need that certain players, and not just like
yes, but the cap is a constraint that everybody has to deal with. So that $56 million I paid Guy was out. It made sense for him to be the highest paid player, but I wasn't going to make him the highest paid player by all that much, Mm-hmm. And that's where I got my number. Obviously, tempered by did I have the cap room to sign him? Yes. But yeah, I'm looking at this I'm looking at this before I make any substantial free agent offer.
There is one screen, and it's at the beginning during preseason. It's when the changing of the combines, whatever it is.
Yeah, that.
I still can't. I'm trying to understand what it is, because you can have a player who did very well the season before.
It's useless. I think it's useless, and I haven't removed it because it's a pain to remove it.
Okay.
I built it when the combine, it was, cool new feature. The combine's changed. I built a page around it. But as Quick has said, it's a lagging indicator. It tells you what your player's ratings are right now, which is basically how he changed in last training camp.
How they were before training camp.
Mm-hmm. Because it updates, the game updates the combines when free agency begins. So that's why it shows up then on the auto poster. It wouldn't be hard to remove it from this page. I forgot it was here. I was thinking where it shows up as part of the auto post when we hit free agency, which kind of makes it front and center. This would be easy to remove. I don't want to confuse people. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, but no, all it is you can pretty much track this. And there's obviously some noise within the ratings, but if you see a guy who every one of his combine numbers went down, it's because his ratings went down last training camp.
Got it. Okay.
And that's it. So combines are generated from ratings, not the opposite. We've definitely established that. And so this is just, it reflects the player's ratings at the moment that free agency begins, which, that's for what that's worth.
All right, fellas. We'll end it here.
Yeah.
Been fun.
Well,
Thanks again.
What are you going to say?
No, I was just going to say it's one of those things I thought would be neat when FOF8 came out, and it turned out it was not neat at all, not interesting information.
No, everything on your site, like the offense, team defense, I love looking at that stuff and seeing how teams are performing. And then you have another one with the passing.
Oh, I love the pass distances.
Yes, that one.
I love that. It's just as curious for me. It's not. I don't build strategy around it, but I love looking at it.
I don't know if you guys know what we're speaking about right here. This one.
Yeah, that one. Well, in the Math Geek in me, the way that I built it with the standard deviations and the colorings, that was kind of fun too.
But yeah, everything on this site, the bells and whistles that people call the toys.
Yeah,
good job on it.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, this one, I love that. So you can kind of immediately see like the average complete. I think default sort is average completion length. So that's literally where they catch the ball as opposed to the yards per catch, which takes yak into account. So it's kind of telling you who is throwing it longer, who is throwing it shorter, and how effective is that. So
the biggest thing that seems small that you put into this is offensive players or defensive players penalty count.
Oh yeah,
That was huge. So I can look at a player and say, okay, this person gets this many penalties and stuff like that, so on and so forth. I like that because you can't find it in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty heavily. What I learned is it's pretty heavily tied to coach discipline and the player's intelligence. And offensive linemen get more penalties by far than any other positions. That's why I think Julio just will not sign an offensive lineman with low solid systemic / intelligence score.
Yep, same here. I won't do it.
I do not share that. I play loose and free with penalties and turnovers. I really do compared to most people.
Yeah, because you put up like 30-something points per game. And
I feel like I feel like just put the talent out there and they'll get penalized sometimes. And it may be why I've not done as well in the playoffs since we're now targeting penalties, I've not done as well in the playoffs as I used to, and that may play into it. I don't know, but
if you have an offense that is not putting up 35 points per game, and it's only putting up 20, and then the interceptions, the penalties, kill you. So everyone has to get an offense like you or like T-Zac's offense, where you're putting 50 points up with your quarterback, touchdowns, and then everything else is gravy at the end of the day. Wouldn't you say, Grim?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
The career of Donovan Muth, I guess, is the
yes, exactly. Or T-Zac had who was the other guy? T-Zac, who was the quarterback you had?
I think T-Zac's gone.
Oh yes,
Billy Russell.
Billy Russell. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
He had Billy Russell, and you had Moot.
Yeah.
So.
How much? Now I'm curious. He threw 346 interceptions in his career, which I'm assuming is the highest ever. I'm wondering by how much. Let's see. By more than 50. Yeah. Yeah. 293 is second, 346 is first.
So who was your quarterback / punter?
Exactly. He threw some picks. Won 4 rings.
If you look at it that way, if you're throwing a deep pass and they pick it off, it's like you just punted it down to them. True. All right, fellas. I got to get going because I have to move.
Oh, good luck.
Tomorrow.
Doesn't sound fun.
Oh, I have movers. I just have to pack up certain boxes that they cannot pack. Outside of that, I let them take everything. But again, it was fun doing this thing with you guys. Thanks for coming on. Until the next time. And Ben, we'll try to do some afternoons, so from time to time you can pop in. You don't have to pop in. You know, it's all free.
Yeah, yeah. I can't always pop in, but it's gonna be more likely on an afternoon. That's for sure. So.
There is no you must be here or anything like that. No, you guys can jump in and say, hey, what's up, and then disappear.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop the recording,